documents, old medical bills, even if you've been a victim of identity theft, CRC can help. The fees are reasonable and the people are always professional and courteous. Stop doing nothing. Let the experts restore your credit today. Call Bill Lewis at CRC, 954-581-5050. That's 954-581-5050. Or go online to talkaboutcredit.com. That's talkaboutcredit.com. This is the Credit Report with Bill Lewis, where your opinion matters. Call us live on the air right now, toll free, 888-565-1470. That's 888-565-1470. Once again, here's Bill Lewis.
All right, time flies when you're having fun. The weekend is upon us. It's Friday, August 7, 2009. Bill Lewis here with the Credit Report, a daily forum for business, financial news, politics, economic trends, as well as cutting-edge issues. Well, today we're talking a little bit more about the Cars for Clunker program. You know, you hear a lot of do's and don'ts about the program. There's a lot of individuals out there that are complaining or attempting to wreak havoc about placing individuals in vehicles that they may not necessarily be able to afford. But, you know, recent statistics, recent reports show that the vast majority, approximately 73% of the individuals that are signing up for the program are purchasing cars at the very low end of the range. Those individuals who, yes, could not normally afford a new car, but you know what? A $10,000 car minus the $4,500 doesn't leave you pretty bad off. On the line with me once again is Rick Case from Rick Case Automotive Group. Rick, thanks for hanging out for the last segment of the show today.
Great, Bill.
Back to the questions on the program itself. I have a car. It's a clunker. I get the $4,500. Is it strictly a new car, or can I buy a demo or a gently used car? What's the deal there?
Well, under the Cash for Clunker program, it has to be a new car. Now, demos qualify as new car until they're registered in the actual end user's name. They're considered a new car, but no pre-owned cars. In other words, a car that's been previously registered to somebody else, whether it's a 2009 or whether it's a 2000, they do not qualify for the program. But under our automotive stimulus program, used cars do qualify.
Okay, so used cars under the Rick Case Automotive Group stimulus package, obviously under the Cash for Clunker. So back to the demo. Is a demo, I mean, obviously a demo is a vehicle that's, you know, either been driven or utilized by staff or maybe utilized for, you know, any particular reason, but is still basically titled to the automotive group themselves versus being titled to someone else. Is that another way to get around the deal, to try to get the best deal possible, is to try to purchase a demo?
Well, there's really not any additional savings on a demo. There may be a little bit, you know, because, well, first of all, in our company and most dealerships today, because the cost of insurance and everything, none of our employees have demonstrators. So the only demonstrators we have are cars that people actually, you know, test drive.
Okay.
And we have very few of those because what we like to do is, like, when people come in to look at a car, to buy a car from us, we like them to actually drive the car they plan on buying. So we have them choose the car they want first. So our cars, you know, we have very, very few demonstrators.
All right, so in that particular instance, you know, that's not going to be the case. But, you know, the requirements, back to the program requirements, you know, you talked about the trade-in vehicle being less than 25 years before the date you traded in. I guess that's the majority of clunkers out there. There, you know, are no issue there. But the new combined city highway fuel economy obviously has to be 18 miles per gallon or less, and you indicate that that number is set by the U.S. government. You can go to cars.gov. So essentially it's the sticker, like the original sticker of the vehicle when it was first manufactured, that determines that. Is that correct?
That's exactly right.
All right, now
drivable
condition. I mean, obviously I can't tow the car in. I mean, drivable condition is somebody actually checking to make sure it drives and rides and will ride around the block?
Exactly.
Right. Now, the insurance requirement, we talk about continuously insured. We talk about continuously registered to the same owner for 1 year preceding the trade-in. I guess that particular rule there is to prevent somebody from just buying something in the $400 or $500 range and trading it in, you know, the next day. Pretty smart, you know, of the particular program itself. But tell us about the, you know, any other requirements. I mean, I drive the car in. How fast will you qualify or decide whether or not I qualify?
Well, we can tell real quick because all we need to do is sit down at the computer and evaluate, you know, what your car's miles per gallons are, and then we take and we choose the kind of car you're interested in, and we determine if that car gets, you know, which mileage it gets to qualify for the, you know, $3,500 or $4,500 government voucher under the Clunker program.
Now, Rick, they talk about, or recent statistics show that 71% of the clunkers were SUVs. And I guess maybe, I'm trying to think outside the box here, but 71%, aren't most SUVs, the newer type SUVs, something that would have actually been worth more, or are they just, you find individuals that are trading in the low lines or the lower type brands of SUVs toward the clunkers?
Well, Bill, as you said, they're finding out that about 70% of the cars traded into the domestics, and the domestic SUVs get the much lower gas mileage. So they in most situations, qualify for that $4,500. So that's why we're getting a lot of SUVs in, and people are usually stepping up, going from an SUV to a passenger car. So in a lot of situations, they're not improving their gas mileage just 10 miles per gallon, which is a requirement for a $4,500 voucher. Some of them are improving the gas mileage, up to 15 to 20 miles per gallon, because you take, you get a Honda Civic, these cars that get over 30 miles per gallon, and some of these SUVs only get 10 or 12 miles per gallon. So you're not only saving on this program, it's just incredible. You save the $3,500 or $4,500 the government's giving you. As you know, Bill, the interest rates are the lowest they've been. We got interest rates as low as 2%. It's the lowest it's been in a long time. Plus, the banks and the finance companies are back into loaning people who really deserve a loan. But before here, the first part of the year or last fall, couldn't get it. So the timing is just spectacular on this program, and it's just amazing what the opportunity people have to get a new car.
Well, how about rebates? Obviously, not only do we have the government Cash for Clunker program here, but can you use this credit, this Cars for Clunker, credit in conjunction or in combination with a manufacturer's rebate, other discounts that are being offered?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's what I'm saying. We, in a lot of situations, we can match the government rebate with savings up to $9,000. So it's just incredible time, because, the incentives that the manufacturers and the dealers have on cars is the highest virtually they've ever been. And then when you take the Cash for Clunker, $3,500 or $4,500, you add that in, the low interest rate, the financing that's available, and even with a Honda, you can get a lease, a 60-month lease, and your payment is really, really low. So it's just an incredible time for people. I am not, they estimate this, the $2 billion they approved last night will last till the end of this month, the end of August. I don't know that it will, because we just had a feeding frenzy last Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and our dealerships were just full of people taking advantage of this program. And now, with our automobile stimulus program on top of that, which everybody who doesn't qualify for the government Cash for Clunkers does qualify for our program. Our program is, it's a current vehicle is 2006 or older. Doesn't matter how old the car is. And the current vehicle, of course, again, must be operable. Nobody really trades in a car that doesn't run. Very seldom you find that. The current vehicle has been owned for a minimum only 6 months, not a year like the government's program, and has been registered for a minimum of 6 months, and so has been insured for 6 months. And it's just, it's an incredible number. So right now, and in July, we had a program that was, a limited amount of people qualified for it. And when the people come in, they didn't qualify for it. We just made them a great deal, and so by putting these deals together for people who didn't qualify, we come up with this automotive stimulus plan, and that is, we just really launched that. And like I said, we got together with the 50 top dealers in the country, and each dealer in a market, we're the exclusive automotive stimulus dealer for Miami-Dade, Broward, and Palm Beach County, and the Atlanta market and the Cleveland market. Well, there's other dealers in New York and L.A. and Chicago and so on, and we've all got together and put this program together, and it's what's happened. We just launched it on Wednesday, and the excitement on the program is incredible. It's almost as exciting as Cash for Clunkers, because a lot of people got left behind on Cash for Clunkers.
All right, well, let's talk about that for a second. Obviously, you talk about this particular package. We talk about the automotive dealerships. We talk about you being the exclusive stimulus package program here in South Florida. with that, because we only have 2 minutes left in the show, where are your dealerships? Where can an individual take advantage of these particular programs? How can they sit there and say, hey, wait a second, Rick, I want a deal. I may or may not qualify for this particular program, but you know something? I want a piece of the pie. I want my share of the wealth. I need to be stimulated. Where are your dealerships?
Well, we're in Fort Lauderdale. We're on 441 at Sunrise with Rick Case Hyundai, and then right next door to that is Rick Case Acura.
Which is the very two highly popular as far as the program goes.
Right. The Hyundai is the most popular one, Hyundai and Honda. And then out west on I-75, our dealerships are out there. We have the Honda dealership at I-75 and Griffin Road. And then next to that, that's the Honda car dealership. We have a Honda motorcycle dealership. And we put together, when the government's Cash for Clunkers program come out, we put together a Cash for Clunkers program for motorcycles, too. So that's available on our Honda motorcycles for anybody who has a car or a motorcycle that's not worth any money. We've got a program for that, too. But then you go a little further north on I-75, and you'll have our Hyundai dealership on I-75, just south of the Cleveland Clinic. It's on Western Road right on I-75.
And, of course, then you get the smart car.
Our Hyundai dealership and the Cleveland Clinic is our smart car dealership.
All right, yeah, I got it right. Everything right there, basically Western Road, I-75 there. Rick, I want to thank you for coming on. Your website for individuals to go check out.
rickcase.com.
Rick, I appreciate coming on this morning. Have a great day. Have a great weekend. We'll do this again sometime.
Great. Thanks for having me, Bill. Appreciate it.
Have a good morning. Rick Case from Rick Case Automotive Group. End of the show here. Rebroadcast Saturday, 1 p.m. on, actually 3 p.m., 740 WSBR, as well as Sunday here on 1470 WWNN. Your opinion matters. Give us a ring sometime next week. Have a great weekend.
The Credit Report with Bill Lewis is a production of Credit Restoration Consultants, located at the Sawgrass Business Plaza, 13790 Northwest 4th Street, Suite 111 in Sunrise, Florida. Credit Restoration Consultants specializes in restoring consumer creditworthiness and identity theft. If you're having credit problems, if your bills are out of hand, or if you just want a credit checkup, call CRC for a free credit consultation. Call now at 954-581-5050. That's 954-581-5050. Or go online to www.talkaboutcredit.com. That's talkaboutcredit.com.
The opinions expressed on this sponsored program were strictly those of its hosts, guests, and callers and are not necessarily those of this station, its staff, management, or sponsors.